Welcome to the deep dive. Usually our source material, well, it involves things like quarterly reports or maybe historical treaties.
Your stuff sometimes.
Right. But today, we're diving into something, let's say, a bit different, but maybe just as deep. Great art.
Specifically song lyrics.
Exactly. We're analyzing the, honestly, surprisingly rigorous worldview packed into just one song. It's called Our World by Alison McLean.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to, rapidly pull out the core philosophical insights here, and psychological ones, too.
It's not just music analysis, then.
No, not at all. Think of it like a really concise, challenging text about how we see reality. And the hook, it grabs you immediately.
Yeah.
The lyrics just throw down this gauntlet assorting, our world we believe in is another's one undone.
Wow.
That's a powerful, kind of destabilizing idea right from the start.
It really is. And it immediately forces you to ask, what do we mean by our world or reality? What we've got here, I think, is a framework, a way to understand duality, subjectivity. The lyrics aren't just saying contrast exists. They're arguing it's the operating definition of the whole system.
The definition.
Yeah. So our goal is to unpack this text's big thesis, that contrast all plays here.
Okay, let's unpack that. That central idea, starting with that opening line and the main chorus refrain, because it seems to lay out like three foundational laws for this specific world.
It does. It sets the stage.
And the first law seems to be this radical relativity of truth. It comes straight from that line. What I believe in is simultaneously another's one undone.
And that's the source material defining existence right off the bat as conditional.
Conditional.
Think about it. If my reality, my truth system, is inherently canceled out or undone by yours,
then truth isn't absolute.
Exactly. It becomes purely subjective. We're sort of forced into this state of mutual negation almost.
Mutual negation, wow.
Yeah, it kind of removes the possibility of one single universal experience. And instead, you get these coexisting but contradictory perspectives.
Okay, but hang on. If our realities are fundamentally contradicting each other, how does anything communal function? Like society, don't we need some shared baseline truth to, get along?
That's a really crucial question, isn't it? What are the implications of this, like radical relativity?
Yeah.
The lyrics, interestingly, don't seem to suggest we can't function together, just that our individual beliefs about how we're functioning are conditional.
Okay.
Imagine maybe walking on two totally different paths that just happen to cross for a moment.
Okay.
The paths themselves are still separate, maybe even opposed, but we share that brief space where they overlap.
I see.
So the lyrics seem to push us to accept that tension, the tension between my truth and your counter-truth, that it's permanent, it doesn't resolve.
And that tension, that permanence, it feels like it's visually cemented in the very next line, describing our world as the contrast in the sun. I mean, that's a fascinating flip, iconographically speaking.
It really is.
The sun usually stands for what? Absolute clarity, singular truth, light without shadow.
Knowledge, illumination.
Yeah, but here, the ultimate light source is defined explicitly by its opposite, by contrast.
Right.
It makes it sound like duality isn't just, a byproduct or some shadow lurking at the edges.
No, it's inherent.
It's inherent to the light itself, to existence. Like, you actually can't have the sun without the contrast that defines it.
It goes further than just, say, yin and yang, where opposites balance each other out.
How so?
This suggests the opposite is the thing itself, in a way. The contrast is the sun.
No.
And if we take that core idea, this relativity and inherent contrast, and connect it to the human experience, well, that's where the final line of the chorus comes in.
The third insight.
Yes. The nature of our existence is an endless marathon.
An endless marathon, not a sprint, not even a race with a finish line, it seems.
Precisely. This tells us that this ongoing state of conditional reality, where conflict or contrast is baked in, it's not a temporary problem we're trying to fix.
It's just the way things are.
It's the defining feature, according to this text. We're not actually aiming for some final resolution, some finish line where everything is settled, which, of course, raises a really important question then.
Which is?
Well, if contrast is fundamental and the journey is endless, how do we shift our focus? How do we move away from seeking that final, definitive peace?
And instead,
maybe, embrace the value of the ongoing effort itself, the running of the marathon.
That idea of abandoning the finish line, accepting there isn't one, that feels like a major philosophical shift.
It is.
Because so many systems, religions, philosophies, they're built around reaching some final liberation, nirvana, heaven, resolution.
True.
So if we accept the endless marathon, aren't we just saying striving is pointless? Doesn't that risk leading to, like, fatalism, just giving up?
I think it's actually the opposite.
Ah.
Accepting the marathon seems like the antithesis of fatalism. Fatalism suggests surrender, right? Surrender to a predetermined, probably bad outcome.
Yeah.
But accepting the endless nature of it, that implies accepting that the effort itself is the point. The value is in the running, not the arriving.
I see the distinction.
If we stop believing in some ultimate final state of, say, pure love or pure hope, where the contrast is gone,
Then what?
then we actually become free. Free to engage fully, right now, with the struggle, with the contrast. That's actually here.
So the goal isn't resolution.
The goal shifts.
Yeah.
It becomes sustained, conscious engagement with the process, not escape.
Okay, so that sets up the philosophical framework, the big picture of existence as this endless contrast-filled marathon. Now, this is where I think the lyrics transition really beautifully. They move from that abstract nature of reality.
In the marathon?
Right, to the practical tools, the psychological toolkit we need to actually run it.
Yeah, how do we navigate it day to day?
Exactly. How do we handle this persistent conflict emotionally? And the verses seem to zoom in on things like despair and doubt.
Key challenges in the marathon.
Definitely. And the instructions given are, well, they feel a bit counterintuitive.
Oh, so?
The text advises, honoring our despair with a touch of gratitude and hope in the air.
Honoring despair.
That word honoring feels critical. It says we need to acknowledge despair, give it its due weight.
Which is not what we usually do.
Right. We're often told to fight it, dismiss it, think positive. Why does this text insist we have to honor it first?
Well, maybe because denial is just a temporary fix. It doesn't actually resolve anything, and maybe it even makes it worse long term. If you actually acknowledge or honor the despair, you stop wasting energy fighting the fact that you feel it.
Okay, that makes sense. You accept the reality of the feeling.
And that's where the synthesis seems to happen. The lyrics suggest that by accepting the despair, you create the space to immediately balance it.
With its opposite, gratitude and hope.
Exactly. It's like a call for dynamic emotional synthesis. It's not denial followed by fake positivity.
No.
It's acceptance followed by an intentional counterweight.
Okay, that's a subtle but important difference. Acceptance first, then balance. And that sense of active choice, it seems even clearer when the lyrics talk about doubt and faith.
Absolutely. You see that in the lines about facing our fears and doubts, shifting our attention where faith simply sprouts.
Facing, then shifting.
The process it describes is sequential, and it's active. First, you must face the negative choice, the fear, the doubt. You don't pretend it isn't there.
Okay.
But then, the positive result, faith sprouting, comes from the active choice, to shift attention.
So if the despair-gratitude thing involves acceptance, then the doubt-faith balance seems to involve agency, choice, action.
I think that's right.
But what stops this from just being, a fancy way of saying positive thinking, lots of self-help talks about shifting focus.
That's a really vital distinction to make.
Yeah.
Because generic positive thinking often implies ignoring the fear or doubt in the first place, just papering over it.
Right. Don't feel bad, feel glad.
Exactly. But this instruction feels more rigorous. It specifically demands facing the doubt first, acknowledging it.
Okay.
And only once it's acknowledged does the individual exercise agency by actively redirecting their focus.
So the faith isn't just passive.
The text seems to imply it's not something you just passively receive. It's cultivated. It grows. Because you make an active choice to maintain focus despite knowing the doubt is still there.
It's the agency, the deliberate shift that makes the difference.
That seems to be the core of it. It's work.
And tying this back to the whole endless marathon idea, the lyrics also recognize the environment this creates, right? The external world. Life is described as fast, full of tension and confusion. It accepts that the system is inherently, chaotic.
It acknowledges the reality, the cost maybe, of running this marathon. The external world, because it's driven by all this contrast.
Yeah.
It naturally operates at a high frequency. It's stressful.
It is.
But then the lyrics offer a kind of escape hatch, or maybe just a different gear, a critical contrast to that external pace.
You mean the line, we know there's a slower pace in grace.
Exactly that.
This feels like the internal sanctuary. The text points to an alternative speed, one that exists inside us regardless of the chaos outside.
Yes.
It's like an intentional choice you can make, to step off that frantic track for a moment and tap into a different rhythm.
A rhythm defined by grace.
Yeah. What does grace mean here, do you think?
Well, in this context, if the world is this fast, confusing marathon, grace could represent that internal capacity to just choose a different pace.
Okay.
It's the ability to find some stillness, maybe.
Hmm.
Not by making the external tension disappear.
Because the marathon is endless.
Right. But by recalibrating your internal response to it.
So it reframes resilience. It's not just gritting your teeth and enduring.
No, it's more active than that. It's about active internal pacing, finding that slower gear within the chaos.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating then is how the lyrics move from laying out the philosophy, the foundation,
Same marathon, the contrast.
and then the psychological management tools.
Yeah. Honoring despair, shifting attention, finding grace.
To a really clear, almost bullet-pointed synthesis. You see it in the post-chorus and the outro.
Ah.
The text basically takes all these abstract tensions we've been discussing and just distills them down into 4 crucial interlocking pairs that define existence in this model.
They really do feel like the definitive ingredients list for our world, as the song calls it. And these pairs are pretty comprehensive, aren't they? They touch on the emotional, the cognitive, the temporal, the primal.
Exactly. You get 1, despair and hope. That's the emotional state, our internal weather, you could say.
Okay.
2, doubt and faith. That's the belief state, and it's tied directly to that agency, that choice of where to put your attention.
Right.
3, fast and slow, the temporal pace. That contrast between the external chaos and the internal potential for grace. And 4, love and fear, which feel like the really primal drivers, don't they? The fundamental motivators behind almost everything we do.
Yeah, those feel foundational. So, okay, if the system, this world, is defined by these 4 pairs, and the lyrics insist they must all play here, that means the world is never purely one thing, right? It can't ever be just pure love or pure faith or pure hope. The opposites are always present.
That seems to be the implication.
How does understanding that change how we approach things? Like big goals, political goals, social goals, those often seem to demand unity, resolution, getting rid of the bad stuff.
Well, it radically shifts the definition of success, doesn't it?
How so?
If we set the lyrical conclusion in life, its contrast all plays here, then striving for a world where only love exists or only hope exists.
That's striving against the design.
It's striving against the fundamental nature of existence, as this text presents it. The lyrics seem to suggest that maturity or wisdom lies in managing the relationship between these contrasting elements.
Not in eliminating one side.
Exactly. True functionality, maybe true health, comes from the necessary coexistence, the interaction between the opposites. They both have a role.
So the text is basically defining reality.
Yeah.
Not by some unified ideal we're aiming for,
Yeah.
but by the ongoing simultaneous friction, the rubbing together of conflicting forces.
Yeah.
It's almost like an instruction manual for how to live with deep, constant contradiction.
That's a good way to put it.
It's asking us, the listener, to stop seeing contradiction as a sign of failure.
And start seeing it as
the engine.
Yeah.
The very engine of life itself. Okay, so as we bring this deep dive into Alison McLean's lyrics toward a close, the central nugget we've pulled out seems to be this profound acceptance of duality. Our reality is defined by its contrasts, and going back to that first line, my world is inevitably someone else's undone.
It circles back. And if we connect all this to the bigger picture, that insistence on the endless marathon, it really suggests that finding this philosophical balance, managing these contrasts, it's not a permanent achievement. It's not something you just check off a list.
Right, you don't arrive at balance.
No. The work is constant. The work of shifting your attention away from doubt, the work of finding grace amidst chaos, the work of honoring despair while holding on to hope. It's ongoing.
Because the opposites are always there.
Exactly. Even when we have moments of real hope or faith or love, the text reminds us that despair, doubt, fear, they remain fundamental ingredients, part of the operating system.
A necessary friction.
And necessary friction, that seems right.
It provides a framework, then, that really acknowledges the instability, the contradiction that's just built into life. It doesn't promise a simple fix.
No easy answers here.
No. So given the text's pretty strong emphasis on contrast and on this idea of the endless marathon, we want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to consider. If life inherently guarantees ongoing conflict, if contrast is the system, ensuring that true final stability is basically impossible, How does one move beyond simply surviving that inherent tension, the push and pull between love and fear or despair and hope? How do you actually learn to thrive within the dynamic, inherently contradictory nature of this endless marathon?